Hi, everybody.
Hello, I'm Ryan.
I'm Bethany.
And we are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
And today we're going to be talking about PAX Unplugged. But before we do, we would like you to subscribe so you can see our videos as they come out, so you can hear all of our fun conversations, all of our reviews, all of our top 10s, and all of the stuff that we're going to be presenting here right now, which is PAX U.
That's right. PAX Unplugged. PAX is a big series of conventions. Happens all over the world. PAX Unplugged is the one that's dedicated to tabletop gaming, so board games, role-playing games, things like that.
Get it? Unplugged.
So that's the one that's obviously appealing to us. PAX as a whole does a lot of video game coverage, that kinds of stuff. PAX Unplugged, that's where we get excited.
Yes, so Ryan was able to go to PAX Unplugged, which was super exciting, and you and I are going to kind of interview him. I've heard some of these stories, but some of these stories I haven't heard. And of course, there's things I'm going to try to pull out of him to tell you. It's going to be great, and I can't wait for all of us to hear about it. So let's begin. Now, this is the first convention that Ryan has flown to. Every other convention, because we live in the Midwest, so we can drive anywhere, but every other convention that we've been to, that he's been to, has always been one that we drove to. So Ryan, tell us, what's the biggest difference? What are some of the biggest differences between flying to a convention and driving to a convention?
First of all, time out. Big thank you to Bethany, because she sacrificed go to PAX to be able to watch our kids while I was running around having fun and doing all those things that I'm about to talk to you about. So thank you very much. But so we are board gamers, right? When we go to a board game convention, what do we like to bring back with us?
Board games!
More board games! So, packing was very, very challenging. I didn't want to have to do the hassle of checking my luggage and all that stuff. So, I had to do basically a carry-on luggage and my little satchel thing that I carry on with me throughout the convention day.
Messenger bag
Deal. And oh my gosh, packing was so stressful because I wanted to make sure I had the maximum amount of room to bring games back. So, I did this thing where traveling there, I wore as little clothes as possible, and I had all my clothes in the suitcase. But then I had kind of in my head planned that on the way back, I'll be wearing all of my clothes, 6 shirts, 2 pairs of pants.
Could I be wearing any more clothes?
Exactly.
Name that quote.
Well, that is the quote. Name the show.
Name the show. Okay, that is the quote. You're
Name
right.
that quote.
That thing I just said, you say it.
So, yeah, wear 2 pairs of shoes somehow. I don't know. Whatever it takes to empty out space. Throw shoes away. Whatever it takes to bring home more games. So that was the biggest challenge, was just packing light, and then also making sure that I strategized how I would be able to pack the maximum amount of games.
Okay, but you don't understand how brilliant Ryan is at this. He is like the Tetris man. We had friends of ours who, they were moving, and they asked Ryan to help, not so much carry the stuff, but to direct people, because he's like the Tetris man, and he just makes everything fit.
They were planning on 3 loads of bringing things back and forth. No, we're doing it in 1. Let's figure it out. And by golly, we did. No, but that's what I did. I basically had my own little board game of trying to fit everything in there just right. And it was really, really fun, but also quite a challenge. And I was like, oh, please have them not measure my bag to where I'm 1 millimeter over the whatever it is.
So one of the biggest things was just space in general.
Right.
I mean, when you're driving there, you have your vehicle.
Yeah, your full trunk you can do whatever you want with. But this was just me and my little bags.
Were there any other big differences between driving and flying?
Yeah, I mean, speed is great, but I think
you're there.
I personally don't like flying at all, but then also I like having the control of being able to stop when I want to stop, just go fast when I want to stop. If I want to see some kind of cool historical roadside attraction or whatever, I can go do that. I mean, for crying out loud, we were in Philadelphia. There's all this great history all around me, and I didn't get a chance to see any of it because I didn't have my own vehicle to get there. I didn't feel like walking or taking Ubers just to do that, but. Yeah, so that's one thing. You have a little less freedom, but you can go for a lot farther distance without in a shorter time. So it makes it feasible. So I can do this without having to miss a ton of work.
All right, so you went to someplace you've never been before.
That's right. The entire, basically, East Coast, I've never hit up any of those states besides
none of them.
Florida when I was a kid. But So I think people in Pennsylvania wouldn't call themselves East Coasters, but to me in Iowa, that's like, East Coast.
Yes.
I mean, we were right across the river from New Jersey, which I would say that's for sure a coast city.
Well, you were saying
or
how,
coast state.
like, you can look at a map and you see how close the states are, but when you were physically there and understanding how long it would take you to get to a different state, like, that really showed how close they were.
Like here in Iowa, it's like you've got to go, a good amount of distance before you get to anything other than Iowa.
Yeah.
Like,
Lots of Iowa.
But if you were in, where we were in Philadelphia, it was like, an hour and a half to New York. It was or right across the river, 5 minutes to New Jersey. It was, an hour to Delaware or whatever it was. Everything was just within this, a 2-hour radius. There was a ton of different states, and states I'd never even been to before. States I've never even heard of. No, that's not true. I've heard of those states. But yeah, it was.
There's like secret states.
Yeah, in the Northeast, there's all these little tucked-in secret states. Yeah. That's what they're trying to find in like National Treasure. Like,
yes, a secret state. Just a whole state that's a secret.
Basically, yeah. So going to a place I'd never been before was really exciting. Got to cross off a couple of states off of my list of states I've never been to before. And like I said, I really love historical stuff. I love seeing landmarks. And I didn't get to see as many as I wanted to because I had a very short amount of time between my flights and with all the different things I was doing with the events. But even still, like I was walking around, I just see as many signs as possible about where Girl Scout cookies started. Apparently it was in Philadelphia. Who knew? I loved it. I took a picture of that sign. I just wanted to see it, and it was great.
So one of the really interesting things about, producing content like this is that we meet a lot of people online. Like, they're our online friends. I remember talking to people at work about this, about how Ryan was like staying in a room with an online friend that we've never like met before, but we've done collabs together, and it was just like a really weird but totally not weird thing at the same time. Like, we were, told when we were kids to be stranger danger and don't meet up with people you meet online, and here Ryan is just meeting up.
Hey, do you want to meet up?
Yes.
Am I the people they were warning about?
Yeah, it was you. So, like, what was that like of actually seeing people face to face that we just interact with online all the time?
Yes, the person I got to room with was Jordan from Jordan Plays Blue. He does a lot of great Instagram content, so be sure to check him out there if you want to see some cool board game content from him. But yeah, we've done videos on his channel. He's done videos on our channel. We did a comedy sketch together. We've had a ton of fun online, but we've never met in person. So this is a fantastic opportunity to be able to hang out with him, play a few games, and then we obviously saved us some money by rooming together in a hotel, along with their buddy Kyle. So we also got to meet the people from Room 51. I got to meet Jeremy Howard. There's just a ton of creators, Game Enthuse, Aaron from Game Enthuse. Just so many cool creators. And I know I'm missing a ton of people. I got to meet so many. It's just so rewarding to be able to be around other creators as well, and just kind of bounce ideas off of each other, just have fun, and talk about games. Just having fun.
Yeah. So tell me about like convention center. Like, what was the layout like? Where were things and stuff like that? This is something I don't actually know. Ryan told me stories, but I don't know anything about this. So we're gonna learn this together.
It was kind of a bizarre setup. It was a huge. Where the convention was itself was just one extremely huge room, just a massive room, and it was kind of divided up into chunks. So the main 1/3 of it over here was all of the retail stores, where all the vendors were, and there was a ton, right? And then over here in the middle, this is where the big open gaming area was. So this is where if you wanted to, there's just tons of signage for games. They have a really great library, pretty diverse and full library of all different kinds of games. And then over off to the side, there was kind of more specialized things like D&D or Magic the Gathering, things like that. So it was kind of divided into thirds. And then obviously the surrounding hotels all of their meeting rooms were in use for various events. And there's other parts of the convention center as well, but there was, oddly enough, there was a teacher's conference going on in the same building at the same time. And that's how I knew that the PAX is a little bit smaller than something like Gen Con. Because Gen Con takes over all of Indianapolis downtown. Like, it takes over the whole freaking city. But if this one convention center could host two separate events, like, either this is a way bigger conference center, or else PAX is just a little bit smaller than Gen Con.
Like its third or fourth year, though, isn't it?
Well, yeah, kind of right as it's getting some big traction, COVID happened, obviously, which just changes things. It was kind of funny because Jordan was playing this game called Teacher or Board Gamer. As you're walking through the halls.
I love things like that. Yeah.
Think that's a teacher or is that a board gamer?
I imagine they would like blend together.
We were also thinking there's probably a good decent sized Venn diagram overlap.
It makes you wonder if like there's a teacher that went to that knowing that PAX U was happening at the same time,
and
they could sneak out and do both.
So that was the main way that the convention center happened. It was just one huge room, bigger than any single room of Gen Con. But again, it was divided into kind of sections. The retail area was great. Tons of great vendors there, both kind of indie publishers as well as accessory publishers, as well as bigger publishers as well. And again, the open area. In the mornings, it was fairly quiet, but by kind of mid-afternoon, just packed, just slammed with tons of people playing games, which is just, nothing makes my heart warmer than just seeing people playing board games together. It's the best.
Yeah.
And there's events and all kinds of different, there was different theaters going on with panelists, kind of in some of the outer, I don't know what you call them, meeting rooms or different areas of the hall of the convention center itself. It was just a massive building. It spanned 3 city blocks, and then underneath there's like roads going underneath them. So 13th Avenue and 12th Avenue like go underneath them, but it takes up like 3 blocks. Okay. And we're on the second floor. All of that is above the road.
All right, so I don't know if any of you guys know this, but it's December, and there are some festivities that happen in December. Were there any spontaneous festivities?
Yes, as a matter of fact, there was. First of all, I love seeing all the, in big metropolitan areas, the downtowns get lit up super beautifully during this time of year. And I just, as walking around from event to event, going outside, there was a tree lighting ceremony for like the big giant tree outside of City Hall. I got to see it. And then another time I'm going from one event to another, I'm walking outside and I just, I was in marching band all through high school. So whenever I hear just in the distance, snare drum starting a cadence, whatever it is, I'm just like, what's that? I'm being summoned. I hear this cadence going off in the background. I'm like, that's super random, I'm going to go chase that. I don't go too far before I see a parade. I stumble upon this giant holiday parade. There's just a ton of marching bands, a bunch of random floats and things going on right through the middle of downtown Philadelphia. And it was so cool. Everybody's all lit up. Everyone's in this just fantastic mood. It even started raining, and everyone just kept on going. There was all these. It was so much. It was so cool to see.
Yeah.
And all the floats. I'm used to these big kind of aerial balloons kinds of things. They had something I'd never seen before, which is ground balloons. They had these big, huge balloons being wheeled around on carts. So it was like the Macy's Day Parade flying balloons, but except they were being rolled around on the ground. And then it was so funny because they had to deflate them to get under the city lights and then reinflate them afterwards. It was so fun and so cool to see. But yeah, it was all about the marching bands for me.
Yeah, marching bands. It's like, ooh, these are my people. Okay, but it was a board gaming convention, Ryan. A board gaming convention. Tell us about the games. Tell us what you saw.
Oh my gosh.
Wait. So if you guys know our channel at all, you know that I have a beverage problem. So let's just hold that.
Crack open a cold one of bubbly. That's what it's called. This is bubbly.
Games.
This is honestly going to be...
Oh my gosh, that is so good.
This is probably going to be disappointing because I didn't play that many games. The only games I really played were at the night at the hotel, There was this hot area, this kind of like a new release area that was set up, and I heard about some really great games, but I didn't actually play any. Boop from Smirk and Dagger sold out. That was a huge hit. Lots of buzz around that at the con. Let's see what else we talk about. There's a game called Seas of Havoc from Rock Manor Games, which was really cool. We got to see that as a prototype, and we got to talk about that on our channel to see like a final production of it or near final production of it was really cool. So that's going to be hitting stores here within the next month or two.
I have fond memories playing that with your dad.
Yeah, I do. What a cool game. So yeah, being able to see those kind of games go from prototype to working, functionally as a prototype, I don't know what the right word for it is, but as a preview copy, and then making all the way to the retail copy.
To being sold out.
Yeah. I love seeing those kind of stories. That was the case for both of those. Oh man, it's hard. This is a disappointing section. This is probably what most people want to hear about. And it's a thing that I have the least amount of. A lot of things I did hear about were like, secret stuff that I couldn't really talk about. My Lil Everdell. That was a big release, big announcement that happened on that first day of PAX was My Lil Everdell. And already there people were demoing it. I didn't get a chance to get a demo of it in, but I did see it all laid out. And it's, from what I understand, it's just a simplified. They're calling it a kids version of Everdell, but I would say, from what I understand, it's not really a kids version. I would call it like a gamer kids, right? Gamer kids are just a little bit more advanced.
It's different.
A little bit more advanced than the average kid off the street, in terms of like being able to retain rules and that kind of stuff. Yeah. So My Little Everdell is going to be a big one, I think, especially this time of year. So those are the things that I wanted to talk about.
So a lot of you watching us now have discovered us through us contributing to the Dice Tower's board game breakfast. And so because of that, Ryan was able to do some booth time for the Dice Tower. How was that? Tell me all about it.
Oh, it flew by for one thing. There's just a ton of people. All just, like I said, it's a great retail kind of convention. People are just buying stuff constantly from all over the place and just walking the halls back and forth. So I got a chance to talk to and meet with a ton of fans of the Dice Tower, fans of our show. I got a chance to meet with and talk to a lot of the Dice Tower people themselves. Obviously, Tom Vassell and Z and Roy and Eric Summerer. Eric Summerer is another person that, even though we've both been part of the Dice Tower for a long, long time, and we've even done a video together online, we never met in person.
Yeah.
Outside of like at Gen Con, like as a fan, like a long, long time before we started making videos.
Yeah.
So neither one of us remembered each other hardly, but. So being able to talk to all the Dice Tower people as well was fantastic. I got a chance to talk with Chris and with Brant, and oh my gosh, just so much fun. Those guys are all just incredibly cool. Just talking about games was just a blast, and again, being able to talk to fans, being able to be at a booth where people can come up to you and buy some promo cards or whatever it was just a great way to meet lots and lots of people.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the big question, which I know we all want to know, because there's so many conventions out there, right? There's so many different things you can do, so many different sizes, so many different opportunities. What we all want to know is what makes PAX U different from any of the other conventions you've been to?
I think that's a great question. Probably one of the most important ones to ask regarding a convention. What ones do you want to go to? Not everyone has unlimited PTO or the ability to go to all these different things. So you have to kind of be selective. I would say there's a few different big, broad categories of conventions, right? There's the very, very small local ones, which are almost all
gaming.
Centered around open gaming.
Yeah.
Maybe a very, very small library, maybe one or two vendors that are the local stores that are, have a sale going on. And then just lots of open gaming with people that you know, probably friends that acquaintances that you've seen throughout other gaming events. Then you kind of get up to the bigger regional ones, like maybe like Geekway to the West, which is similar. Lots and lots of focus on gaming itself, but then having a bigger vendor section and more events that they can offer. Then you get up to where I'd say where PAX is. This is a large convention. I think from rough estimates, 30,000 people, lots and lots of vendors, lots and lots of gaming space. And then above that would be the super cons, which would be the Gen Cons and the Essen Spiels. And I think what set PAX U apart for me was, first of all, everyone was really friendly. People outside in Philadelphia, not friendly. I'm sorry.
Not friendly.
Philadelphia's
We're Midwesterners.
I really like Midwest nice. I really like it when people are just like, hi, how are you? Philadelphians, not that way. But the board gamers within the convention center itself were amongst the friendliest. Just so cool, so welcoming, very, very chill. Everyone was just down to play games. That's what it was all about. This is also a great one to for retailers, I think that there was a lot of retail going on, a lot of sales going on without being the big crowds pushing us, right? At Gen Con, it's like you can hardly even get to the register. Everything's just kind of like fighting. There's just tight aisles everywhere. I get that same amount of, I felt like the same amount of energy was there without the pushing the crowds.
Yeah.
So people were still selling out, brought a ton of games, sold out of a ton of games, but didn't have that same level of anxiety and stuff around it too. So I felt like it was a kind of a great medium space. You got to have those big open areas of gaming where it was constantly busy, great library. So I'd put it closer to maybe like the Origins level of intensity, right?
Yeah.
There's still lots of buzz, still lots of celebrities, it's kind of a weird word to use, but lots of, gaming personalities is probably the better thing to say, without being crowded, hot, dense, populated, elbow crushing.
Yeah.
And then also just like the stress of like, I don't know where to go and where to be, and there's so many events and I'm missing out on all of it. We got the best of kind of that middle tier, I think, is the best of both worlds if you want to have a broad experience, a little bit of everything. Lots of games to buy, lots of new releases to see, and lots of games to play, and lots of people to see.
And not being overwhelmed.
Yes. So it's
doing all that without being overwhelmed.
Yes. If you can just stay in this convention hall itself, great. If you have to go on the streets of Philadelphia, maybe not so much. See if you can find a hotel that's somehow in the convention center.
Yeah, and then you're good to go. Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us for this. Hopefully someday in the future, Ryan will be asking me all these questions. It'll happen, guys. It will happen.
Thanks again for making it happen for me.
Yeah, it's fine. I like all of it. I like hearing your stories. I like spending one-on-one time with the girls. It all works out. And I was able to listen to the entire audiobook of Mexican Gothic. So if you've read or listened to that, let me know in the comments below. I'm curious about what you think.
Board game.
Book. I'm just curious.
That fits the unplugged
it does.
vibe.
It does. I'm still thinking about things about it, so it's still on my mind just a little bit. But anyway, make sure to subscribe so you can see our stuff as they come out. Until then, you can follow us in all of these places.
Yes, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.
Bye.